I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on Logic Before Authority, and I have an alert for the parents out there that have students in school. I need you to listen to me very carefully. I've been a citizen journalist investigating various things for 15 years, and I'm warning you of something that I can see that is coming, and you need to pay attention. This is not some kind of conspiracy theory or something in that realm of fantasy, okay? This is something I am concerned as a citizen journalist that is on the way to us. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about all of the security measures that are being put in place around the schools. They are converting the schools to prisons. Now, first off, I know the first thing some of you are thinking. You're thinking, well, Daniel, don't you know that there's been all of these events that have happened at schools in the last years, especially? And the answer is yes, I'm very aware of those events. Matter of fact, I could go back to 2012 in that area around December the 14th. And there was an event that took place up in Connecticut. And that event was what's called a cornerstone event. It was an event that was put on by the powers that be in our system. Now, you may say, well, Daniel, you're sounding like some kind of a conspiracy theorist. Well, first off, a conspiracy is something where people get together and pull something off behind people's back in order to gain a goal or accomplish something. And I'm not going to get into what all their goals are, but one of the goals is obviously that the schools are being turned into prisons. Now, there are a lot of signs of this, okay? There are a lot of signs that this is going on. Now, I mentioned the event up in Connecticut, and on YouTube, you cannot hardly mention these events, the names of them, or you will be terminated, okay? So if you look up December 14th, Newtown, Connecticut, or a place up there called Sandy, and another word called Hook, you'll be able to find what I'm talking about. Those children that they said were in that school were not in that school at that time. Those children that they said were in that school were actually already 6 years older. And they were taken to the Super Bowl, and they literally sung at the Super Bowl in front of everybody that was watching. And these are the children that they said that had something bad happen that day. But yet somehow magically, the same exact children, you can match up all the faces with all the pictures from that event. Somehow they magically showed up at the Super Bowl, 6 years older, pretty much all of them, and alive and well. And I have done the videos, done the studying, matched all the faces, and that's them. Now, these would be adults at this point in time. They would be adults. So there ain't no going out and really tracking them down, as you might say. What the schools are doing is they are putting in every kind of security you can think of, and including automatic locking doors. And all this sounds good on the surface, but if you have any suspicion or any knowledge of what I'm talking about, you need to understand, you need to get your kids out of the schools. Ultimately, one day what's going to happen is they are going to lock down the schools. What they're doing right now is they're taking away all the cell phones from the children while they're in school. They're not allowed to have a cell phone in the school anymore. And this is happening around the country. Now, this is where it's going to get even weirder, but it's not just happening in this country, but they're doing it around the world. And it would be hard for someone that has no knowledge of what I'm talking about, and they think that the government is here to help us and the government is here to save us, and there's no nefarious things going on. It's going to be hard for you to understand this. But this world is controlled by a group of people that have very, very nefarious plans for our children and for us, but specifically our children. So here you see Russia is banning all the cell phones out of the schools. And here is like New Zealand banning the cell phones out of the schools. Here is China banning all the cell phones out of the schools. You see, this is happening worldwide, all around the world. What other signs do we have? Well, they're putting up prison-like fencing all around the schools across the nation and around the world. Here's a couple of articles. I have many, many of them that I could show you, but I'm going to show you a few here. Security fencing. You can see these are recent articles as well. Here's another one. Quarter-mile long fence will surround Waynesville Middle School in an effort to provide security. And this is happening everywhere. These fences are going up around the schools. I've talked about this before in the past with my concern of what I was seeing taking place. And I'm going to pull this one up here where it talks a little bit about it. It's talking about this Waynesville Middle School where they're putting up fencing. And it says the fencing won't be chain link, will be rather black steel bars that look almost like wrought iron with intermittent stone columns. We in no way want to make it seem like a prison, but we also want to make our campus secure. So it's going to look like a prison. It's going to walk like a prison. It's going to smell like a prison, but they're saying it's not. And what I'm saying to you is that it is, and it will be, and your students are in danger. I'm dead serious about what I'm showing you here in these photos and in this report. Long-awaited security fence at another high school. Now, when these fences go up, you will notice that they're not just designed to keep people out. They're designed and will be designed to keep people in as well. Here's a report talking about security fences for schools, keeping our children safe at school. And it goes along, and as you can see, they're talking about razor wire being put in, installed, barbed wire, razor wire being put in, just like what you see on a prison. It's the same thing. See there? Talking razor wire. This is the type of materials that are being used, just like what you see here around this example. Okay? You got this impenetrable type fence with razor wire above it. So it not only keeps people from getting in, it keeps people from getting out. You can't go across the top of this fence. And these types of fences can be electrified as well. You know, I didn't create this information here. This is a company that is selling these fences to the schools. And they're showing you some examples. Okay. A fortress of defense. Yeah. Yep. This is what they're talking about. This is how they're going to keep your children safe. There is so much danger of your children being at school that they have got to keep them in a prison-like environment. Do you not think it might be possibly time to take possession of your children and keep them at home?
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.